Shalom. Clarity is a priority. So I want to just reflect on this phrase or this sentence. So it's because it is a priority, right? Because we need a light, basically. Because how can you walk in this truth if you don't have a light, if you don't have a flashlight, if you don't have a fire that will guide you in this walk? Right? You might fall to the left or to the right. That's because you don't have a light. And that's one of the things that is very important for, well, let's talk about temperance. Temperance is that self control. You need to have the self control, and in order to have your self control, is to have a clear mind. How can you move if you don't have that clear of mind or peace of mind or presence of mind? Your mind is always distracted by many distractions, notifications, temptations, right? And that loses your balance, right? And I believe, that's the one of the main parts of temperance. You see, I'm trying to like meditate on this word so we can, you know, have like some sort of pillars, so we can just when you have some sort of guide or a basis, you can figure out what's wrong or what needs to be fixed, right? And I believe I believe that clarity is important for temperance, right? I just uploaded a video about diligence and how motion is important for diligence, right? And I'm trying to like discern, just having fun on the word. I don't want to be like too strict or just, but if you can add something to this words, to this, I guess, principles, right? It's a good thing. And I just want to take it to a certain level because I want to go deep into this stuff. And because once you are more grounded, and because if you are more grounded into the deepness, right, it, it can you will have you have a strong foundation, right? And that foundation can um, help you put stuff on there, right? A building, right? Or concept, ideas, right? Because we're guided by these pillars or these foundations, right? And it's like what we talked about earlier, that um, excuse me, that when we meditate on the words, right, the Most High is going to build our minds, right? Because you are continuously using something. And if you are continuously using something, right, it's going to become more, well, useful, because it's the same as a sword. You're sharpening something, right? You're you are improving your aim, right? It's the same thing. It's like you have a gun and you're trying to improve your what? Accuracy, right? It's the same thing when we meditate or talk about words and the parts of these words, right? And sometimes in this walk we get drained or we get tired from our day-to-day activities, whatever it may be, and we tend to forget what is the important things, and that I believe is clarity. you know let's go get a scripture. Is the book of Psalms chapter 119 verse 105. Thy word is a lamp. Again, thy word is a lamp, right? It's the same as when you're trying to activate something, right? Something is getting alive, something is getting born, something is what? Making sense, something is sizzling, something is turning on. So when we are getting our delight from the word, we are getting pleasure from it, right? Pleasure is not a sin, pleasure is not wrong, but where do we get pleasure makes it wrong, right? If our pleasure is from the word, then it's delightment or fulfillment. Because what the flesh wants is just temporary, or not what not everlasting, right? That's why the commandments is an everlasting righteousness. I believe there's a scripture for that, something. And that's what we need to delight ourselves with, right? We don't want to be a reprobate mind, or someone who doesn't want or need instructions, right? We need instructions. We need words. Words create what? Instructions. Words resonate wisdom, right? How can you have wisdom if you don't know words, basically, right? So therefore you need a tongue, right? So basically my point, we need that light every day. Turn on, right? I believe in the book of Thessalonians that it says that quench not the spirit, put not out that light, put not out that fire in you, right? Always add a wood in it that it may keep on burning, right? It's the same as a lamp. We have to make it it must not be flickering, right? So we need to do maintenance checks sometimes, right? So that's what we do, right? Because it's hard, really hard, if you don't have light, or you don't have what? Clarity. That's why clarity is a priority, right? Let's continue. Unto my feet and a light up unto my path. Let's get a precept. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 4 verse 27. Turn not, again, turn not to the right hand, nor to the left. Again, turn not to the right hand nor to the left, right? How can you know if you're turning to the left or to the right? How can you know if you're doing the wrong way or the right way? If you don't have light, if you don't have what? Clarity, right? Again, remove thy foot from evil. What is evil, right? Evil can be what? Darkness. And if you're in the dark, you get what? Confusion. What is confusion? Excuse me, what are the definitions of confusion? Of evil. Confusion, right? Evil starts with deception, so that you can get confused, so that you are more easy to be tempted, right? But you must what? Remove thy foot from evil, right? That's why I put there escape, right? But whatever it may look, right? Sometimes you feel drained, sometimes you feel dry, or bored, or just not motivated. Then go for a walk, and that's how you wake up your mind, right? Exercise is I believe it's very, very, very important, right? And combine that or fuse that with the word, and it's going to make you a better person, man. Tell me, right? Yes, the world is going to be challenging, but we have the Most High in our team, okay? So let's do that, okay? Let's add a precept. Job 28 verse 28, one of my favorite verses. And unto man he said, behold, again, behold, the fear of the Lord, or the fear of Yahweh, that is wisdom. Again, what is the fear of the Lord? Wisdom, right? Because once you know the fear of the Lord, you know how to live your life properly. You then know how to eat. You then know how to love. You then know how to live. Continuing, and to depart from evil is understanding, right? Once you get out of a situation where it's confusion, you get a more clear view, right? That's why clarity is your freaking priority, man, on a day-to-day basis. And that's my me versus me reminder, right? Sometimes, you get caught up with work, you get caught up with life, you get caught up with problems, temptations, struggles, challenges. But our priority is diligence. Excuse me, our clarity. So you can then know what to do next, right? It's very hard to make a decision in the midst of a not clear mind, and that's what I'm trying to remind myself, right, through this day-to-day video sharing. And I hope someone is resonating this to someone, because we need clarity every day basically. And I want to make many parts for this topic because that's the important thing, because we're going to make a lot of decisions, and it's hard to make a decision in the midst of many confusion, deception, temptation, right? But if you are in the midst of, I believe right now on the top of my head, recently I thought that satisfaction is important in having clarity, right? Because I saw a painting, I saw a picture, a post one time, where there is a sheep in the middle, and there are, I believe, wolves on each side of that lamb, and that lamb resembles Christ, right? And but the image shows a peaceful lamb, right? And has a um, 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 that lamb has a peaceful, right? Peace is also what? Satisfaction, right? So it's just a reflection right now, but basically, during the time when um, Christ was getting, suffering, there is peace in that suffering, right? Because how can he endure all of that, right, if he's not composed within himself? That's why I honestly envy that peace of mind, right? Because we want to be in control of ourselves, right? Because we fall many times, and you know um I feel bad when we fall, but all praise to the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai for His mercy, and grace. But yeah, that's my takeaway from this meditation, that clarity is a priority, and I believe satisfaction is the steps to achieve clarity, right? That's why when you take a stroll at the park, you feel the wind and you feel what? Satisfied. And afterwards, that's when clarity comes, right? The clear of mind, the peace of mind, the presence of mind. So that's my meditation, my reflection, my reasoning for today, and hopefully it resonates with someone. Peace to Israel, and let's do this thing, keep the commandments, and faith in Yahweh Shai Mashiach. So Tawada, all praise the Most High Yahweh.